NBC Sports presents the 1997 World Series. Tonight, it's Game 3. The Florida Marlins versus the Cleveland Indians.
Talk about a change of venues from the Sun Belt to the Rust Belt, from salsa to Bertram's famous mustard, from the home of one of the newest of baseball's franchises to the home of one of its oldest and most traditional, and most importantly, as it pertains to tonight's game, talk about a change in weather conditions, almost a 30-degree difference. Tonight's temperature as game time approaches is 48 degrees, and keep in mind, according to the forecast, this will be the warmest of the 3 nights that they'll play October baseball in Cleveland this year. Hi again, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. Welcome to Game 3. Well, the Cleveland Indians went some 41 years between 1954 and 1995 without hosting a World Series. Now they play host to the Fall Classic for the second time in the last 3 years. Their pitcher tonight is Charles Nagy, a 15-game winner during the regular season. He's opposed by Al Leiter, who was 11-9 for the year for the Florida Marlins. Leiter lost his only start in the League Championship Series against the Atlanta Braves. Nagy pitched well but had a pair of no decisions against the Baltimore Orioles in the ALCS. I'll be joined a bit later by Bob Uecker and Joe Morgan for the call, but for now, to take you through the pregame show, we go to Hannah Storm.
Pitch of Game 3, time now to send it to Cleveland Indians public address announcer Mark Tromba for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remove your caps and remain standing for the presentation of colors by the United States Army, the United States Marine Corps, and the United States Air Force. To honor America and the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Grammy Award-winning MCA Universal Recording Artist, Reba McEntire.
You see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The first pitch of Game 3 of the 1997 World Series is next. We turn it over to Bob Costas, Joe Morgan, and Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker, after these messages.
Game time has almost arrived. That means the time has arrived to say hello to Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker, and Hall of Famer Joe Morgan joining us up here in the booth. Now, Joe, if after the first 2 games this past weekend in South Florida, we had said, well, they'll split, they'll come to Cleveland tied 1-1, that would be no surprise. But the way that happened might have come as a surprise to a lot of people.
Well, it certainly surprised me, Bob. We had a rookie, Livan Hernandez, pitching very well in Game 1, and he defeated Orel Hershiser, who was 8-1 in postseason play and one of the all-time big game players. Then in Game 2, Chad O.J. took the reins for Cleveland. He pitched very well. He defeated Kevin Brown, who was 2-0 in the LCS and had not lost a ball game since July. So starting pitching has dictated the momentum in this series so far, and I think we'll see that continue tonight. A couple of other things. Tony Fernandez starts tonight. This is his first start since his 6th-game heroic there against Baltimore, and Gary Sheffield will be hoping to get some pitches to hit tonight so he can show that he is still the man in Florida.
Well, all the pitchers, first for the Giants, then the Braves, and now the Indians, all very wary of Gary Sheffield. He's already walked 15 times in this postseason. Well, we're in the American League Park, so we have the DH.
Well, for the first time this year, we get a look at the designated hitter. And for the Cleveland Indians, who would seem to have the edge, it's going to be David Justice. He had a solid .335 this year with 14 home runs and 41 runs batted in. Jimmy Eisenreich, not unfamiliar to the role, he did it with Minnesota and Kansas City in his American League days. One guy who we will not see, Bobby Bonilla. No way, no chance. He said, I hate the DH, despite the fact that he's got that slightly pulled hamstring muscle, Bob. And here's why he hates it. 220 career, 200 this year without a home run or an RBI in 1997.
So even though he might be hobbling a bit, he will start tonight at third base. Starting pitchers, Leiter and Nagy. More about that in a moment. But for now, let's get a report from Jim Gray. Jim.
All right, Bob, as you noted, the temperature is much, much different. 77 degrees, a World Series record in Florida tonight. It's going to be a 30-degree differential. Now, there's a lot of equipment that's being used. First of all, here in the dugouts, players on both sides have these portable heaters. That's not really going to help them much, though, when they're out on the field. So here's what we got. The usual shorts from Florida, they're out. The long johns are in. Also the turtlenecks. No short sleeves tonight. That's not going to work. They've got these hats in the dugout instead of the ball caps. Thermal socks. They'll come in handy tonight. Gloves at all times, except for when you're on the field. Now the pitchers and the batters before they come up are going to wear these long gloves to keep their fingers warm. Got the regular coat, and in case it starts to snow, the Indians even have the hooded coat. Now we talked to Mike Hargrove, and he told us that a lot of the players on his team are going to use pine tar because he's afraid that the ball will be slick and it'll also keep their hands warm. As for the Marlins, a lot of their guys are using Vaseline to cover their pores tonight. Also, Jim Leland told his team they were all complaining about the weather. He told those guys, hey guys, it's cold for them, it's cold for me, it's cold for you. Quit complaining about it. There are 26 other teams who are home in front of the fireplace. I think we can all agree we'd rather be cold. Bob?
All right, Jim, and Jim Leland also told us that when his Marlins went to Wrigley Field early in April for a frigid series against the Chicago Cubs, he told his team then, you know what? It's likely to be cold wherever we might play in October, and we want to be playing in October, don't we? So let's get used to it. In fact, Al Leiter, tonight's starting pitcher, was the Marlins starter on April 8th at Wrigley Field. The game time temperature was 28 degrees. They said the wind chill was one degree. Florida won the game 5-3. 2 days later, Alex Fernandez pitched a near no-hitter, and in 37-degree temperatures, they prevailed 1-0 at Wrigley Field. Leiter was the loser. About a week later, in Cincinnati, the temperature that day was 38 degrees, and the Reds beat him 6-4. Leiter grew up in Toms River, New Jersey. He says he's not unaccustomed to cold weather and not daunted by cold weather. He'll take the mound for the Marlins tonight. Here's Florida's batting order against Charles Nagy. Javon White at the top, followed by Renteria, Sheffield, Bonilla. Dalton will play first base. Lewis in left, of course. Eisenreich, as Bob Uecker told you, will be the designated hitter. Charles Johnson drops to 8th, and without the pitcher hitting, Craig Counsell, the second baseman, will bat 9th.
And right-hander Charles Nagy tonight for the Indians. And here's the report on him. Not overpowering. He has a very good sinker, slider, curve, and a change. And he'll throw a splitter also. He tries to spot that fastball and basically stay inside on right-handers and especially try to jam you tonight. He'll stay away most of the time. He doesn't want to hit you inside where you're going to hurt him. But from time to time, you can look for that off-speed stuff, Bob. Breaking ball, slider, down low and away. And defensively, there you see them, Alomar, Vizquel, Fernandez, and Grissom. All Gold Glove winners, along with Williams, Roberts, Ramirez, and Tomei. And Charles Nagy, 15-11 tonight for the Indians.
A 15-game winner this year, as Uke said. Last year, he was 4th in the Cy Young voting in the American League, behind Pat Henkin of the Blue Jays, who won it, and Andy Pettitte and Mariano Rivera of the Yankees, who were 2nd and 3rd. Nagy was 17-5 in 1996. In fact, he had a stretch between mid-95 and mid-96 where he went a combined 22-3. He isn't in that kind of groove right now.
Well, he has pitched very well here at Jacob Field. As you can see, 32 wins, only 14 losses, so he likes to pitch in this ballpark.
Let's get right to the subject of the cold weather. Right. A lot of people say that it'll make the ball slick. It'll be difficult for the pitchers to get a grip.
Well, one thing to look for, whichever pitcher uses more seams on his pitches will have the advantage. By that, if you throw a 4-seam fastball, that means you're using 4 seams on the ball, so you get a better grip. If you throw a sinker that you're not using but one of the seams, you're going to have problems controlling the ball. So we'll see how the pitchers start off. But the more seams you use, the more control you will have.
Devon White hit .245 for the regular year. He's at .195 in the postseason. Ball one outside to the switch hitter. Joe West from the National League works the plate. Greg Kosk at first. Randy Marsh at second. Ken Kaiser at third. Ed Montague on the left field line, and Dale Ford, who called a very fine game in my opinion behind the plate in game 2, is working the right field line tonight.
And I concur with you that Dale Ford did a fine job behind the plate.
The 1-0 pitch hit down to Tomey, who'll take it himself.
Now that's going to be the secret to Charles Nagy tonight. Sinking fastball and a lot of ground balls. That's what they're hoping for. That time he hit it well. Devon White hit this ball hard, but right at Jim Tomey. And there's one out here in the Florida first. Here it is again, that sinking fastball down low and away. White hit it hard, but right at Tomey.
Edgar Renteria stands in and bunts foul. Edgar saying to himself, you know, I don't recall it getting this cold too often in Colombia. He is just the 4th player from Colombia in Major League history. None of the first 3 amounted to very much as Major League players, so he's already the best his country has ever produced. A little tap. Nagy gets to it and throws him out.
Well, Nagy throws a breaking ball. Renteria's way out in front of it. One of the things you try to keep from happening is getting jammed in a game like this. So you're going to see a lot of guys out in front of pitches, which is just as bad as far as I'm concerned. But you do not want to get jammed in this type of weather, cold weather.
You don't want to go outside your normal pitching pattern too much, but do you make a special effort to try and get in on a hitter's hands from the pitcher's standpoint tonight? Absolutely, and I think that's pretty much the MO for Charles Nagy. He'll throw away, Bob, with the breaking stuff, but every once in a while, I mean, he's not afraid at all to come inside. A ball to Sheffield. I think one thing we might point out early too, Joe, in looking at Charles Nagy tonight, and it's going to be the same for Leiter, they're able to go to their mouth and get a little something on there that's going to help their grip on the baseball. A called strike, 1-1. Sheffield's on-base percentage is nearly .600, as you see. 15 walks. He's also been hit by a pitch. He has 2 home runs in the postseason, 1 against the Giants, 1 against the Braves. 2-1. He was hit on the back of the hand in the area of the wrist in game 2, continued in the game, and reports no ill effects entering game 3. The 2-1 pitch is hit high and deep to left. Biff Roberts to the wall. It's gone. Sheffield hit only .250 during the regular season, but in September he got hot. And when he has had pitches to swing at, he's continued to swing a hot bat in the postseason.
Well, this is a low fastball from Nagy, and he puts a charge into it. I mean, he drills this ball because it's against the wind a little bit. The wind is blowing across from left field to right field. And I mean, he really drilled it. And Nagy's just hoping that it would hit the wall, but it did not. And that's one of the reasons Gary Sheffield has a .565 on base percentage. They don't want to pitch to him.
Now Nagy works on 1-0 to Bonilla and gets the corner. Does the ball carry less well on a night like this?
No, a lot of people have said that they think the ball doesn't carry well in cold weather. I disagree. I think the ball carries just as well.
Hit sharply to Tomey. It comes up for him, and he takes it itself. So Sheffield's solo home run gives the Marlins a 1-0 lead as the Indians come up in the bottom of the first. Cleveland's lineup for Game 3 of the World Series. Bip Roberts in left field tonight, had played the first 2 games at second base. Vizquel as ever the shortstop. Ramirez and Justice back in the DH's role. Williams, Alomar, Tomey dropped to 7th. Fernandez plays second base, and Grissom, who has the highest batting average in World Series history for anyone with more than 50 at-bats, hits 9th.
Well, here's the scouting report on Leiter. Very good fastball. He throws a slider and a curveball. He has a great overhand curveball if he can get ahead of the hitters. One of the things he has to do is stay calm. Sometimes at the beginning of a ball game, he's so hyper and he's overthrows the baseball, and he ends up throwing a lot of high fastballs. And there you see defense, very good defense for the Marlins. Johnson has thrown out 5 out of 8 base runners in the postseason. But this is a good Marlins defense.
The first pitch to the switch hitter Roberts is a ball high. Leiter throws that cutter that can run in on the hands of a right-handed hitter and be especially troublesome on a night like tonight if he has it working for him.
The other advantage, Bob, is that he does not rely on a sinker, so he should be getting all 4 seams of the baseball, so he should really not have any problems throwing strikes. It's just a matter of keeping calm throughout the ball game.
Bounce to Leiter. He backs up to snare it and then drops it. Roberts is aboard, and we wait for the scoring.
I'll give you the scoring on that. That's an error. E1. Well, this is what we're talking about. See how he grips the baseball? Looks like he has all 4 seams there, and that's called a riding fastball, but you were able to control it better because you have all 4 seams. Now he gets the ball, and during the transfer, he loses it. He had plenty of time to get Bip Roberts at first base. He just lost it while transferring it from his glove to his hand.
May have just been a simple bobble, but is it worth speculating? Is the ball possibly slick and harder to hold on to on a cold night?
There's no doubt that you're not as flexible. Your fingers aren't as flexible. You don't have the same feel in cold weather that you would in warm weather.
A strike call to Vizquel.
One of the other things, too, Bob, is these guys on the infield and outfield, with the exception of Alomar and the pitcher. In this case, it's Johnson and Leiter, Alomar and Nagy. Your glove is going to get stiff, too. On these kinds of nights, that leather gets a little tough, and that could be a problem, too.
Vizquel cuts and misses. He had been slumping in the postseason, just 2 for 29 coming into Game 2, then doubled and singled off Kevin Brown.
One of the other things we thought might happen would be that they would try to test Bobby Bonilla early.
Vizquel rolls it foul.
Because of his hamstring problem, we saw him really laboring at the end of Game 2 on balls that were down low. He had trouble bending over. And he's not playing. He wasn't playing in that close against Vizquel, nor was he playing in very tight against Bip Roberts, but neither one has tried it so far.
Another 0-2 pitch. And another foul at the plate. The Marlins lead it 1-0 on Gary Sheffield's home run in the top of the first. Leiter's error puts Bip Roberts aboard to start the Indian half of the inning.
Bob, you talked earlier about those cut fastballs from Leiter. You're seeing them right now on Vizquel, and he's really got them in perfect spots inside. He almost hit those last 2 foul balls off his foot.
This ball is rolled weakly to the right side. Counsell with a quick flip to get him, but Roberts moves up to second.
Well, again, he got inside on Vizquel. You could hear that bat pop up here. He jammed Vizquel. He hits his little roller to the right side. Roberts moves to second. Watch this ball bore in on Vizquel. You could see him try to fight it off. He hit that weak little ground ball to Counsell. One away, but a runner at second.
An RBI spot for Manny Ramirez. Who in the last 3 seasons has had 8 postseason home runs, including one in this World Series. A called strike. Here's the homer he hit in Game 1. Livan Hernandez hangs a curveball, and Ramirez makes him regret it.
If you get the ball out over the plate, he can really hammer the ball. Try to stay in tight on him if you can and go away. Right in there is what you try to do.
They checked down at first base to see if he committed himself on the swing as he was spinning around, but Greg Koss says no.
Take a look at this. This is one of those cut fastballs or a slide. That's a slider there, down and in. And Charles Johnson asked for an appeal. He doesn't get it.
1-2. Leiter's fastball can get into the area of 93, 94 miles an hour.
You were thinking exactly what I was thinking. I was going to say, when he throws that high fastball with the 4 seams up there, I mean, he can throw the ball by most hitters in that area.
And he threw it by Ramirez that time to get ahead of him on the count. 1-2.
That's a tough pitch to handle up there. Anytime you're throwing in that range, 90, 95, 96, you got to really get out on top of those high fastballs. One thing tonight, Bob, we might point out here in the opening inning, there's a big breeze blowing from left to right. I mean, really whipping out there. And there are some right-handed hitters in this game that can reach those perimeters in right field.
1-2 pitch. Bounce toward Bonilla. Comes charging in and throws Ramirez out with Roberts holding second.
Well, Bonilla gets the big hop here, so we still do not get a chance for him to test his leg. Watch, he charges in. He doesn't have to bend over. This ball is right up there. He just reaches down, catches it, and he has a very strong, accurate arm. And he has played very good defense in this series and in the postseason. See, right there, he doesn't have to bend. I want to see what happens when he has to bend down and get one off his shoe tops, and then we'll see how that hamstring holds up.
How about he told us before the game, Bob, how's your hamstring? He said, for the World Series, good. Regular season, not good at all.
In each of the first 2 games of this World Series, David Justice delivered a first-inning RBI single. Roberts at second with 2 out here in the first. Ball 1 down and away. Justice over from Atlanta, and here's what he did. Among the league leaders in several important offensive categories for Cleveland. Just low, 2-0.
And Justice is just the best pure hitter in this series in that he keeps his balance well. You will very rarely see him off balance in his swing. Good slider there from Leiter right on the outside part of the plate. And there you see he pulls the ball most of the time because a lot of times they try to pitch him in. The area to get him out in is above the hands inside, or I should say above the belt.
Inside, 3-1. First base is open. Matt Williams is on deck.
And Dave Justice is the Marlins answer. You know, they're going to pitch to him like they're pitching to Sheffield.
And he takes a strike.
There's the kind of pitches Leiter can make all night long on David Justice. Really a great pitch here. A breaking ball caught the outside corner. Here it is one more time. Watch this. This is a slider coming across the outside corner. And it's 3-2 on Justice.
We have not seen a curveball from Leiter, and he has a very good one.
Blown away, he walks him. 2 on with 2 out for Matt Williams.
Well, they start away with a slider or a ball. He misses in with a slider, goes back away with a slider, fastball off the plate, slider right on the corner, and another slider to give up ball 4. But they're not unhappy. They did not want to give him anything that he could pull and maybe get up in that breeze toward right field.
Now Matt Williams, 3 for 9 in this World Series so far. Can't catch up with the fastball. Here's the scouting report on Matt.
Well, you can throw him fastballs up and in. That one was up, but it was not in. He'll chase a lot of breaking balls off the plate, but with 2 strikes, you have a better chance of getting him to chase something down in the dirt.
Up and in for a ball.
One thing you better watch it. You better watch where you're trying to get him to chase. I know if you make a mistake, Bob, on him, and I'm talking about right field, right center, he's got big power out there, and he'll go that way. I mean, against a guy like Leiter, if you're going to stay away on him, he'll go that way. He'll give up on trying to pull a ball.
Hit into right center field, but in a good spot, and it drops. White couldn't get there. Roberts scores the tying run. Justice speeds to third. It sounded as if he might have broken his bat, but he gets an RBI single out of it.
Well, he definitely got jammed by the pitch.
Here it is again. This pitch is inside. He hit it. You kind of saw Williams take that one inside out. But I think if you look at Williams day in and day out, if you're going to stay that way or try to go that way on him, away, he'll try to go to right center. This time he may have busted his bat, but he dropped that little flare in the right center field. And he picks up a base hit, and we're tied.
Which brings up one of the game 2 heroes, Sandy Alomar Jr. Time is called. Alomar had a tremendous home run off Kevin Brown Sunday at Pro Player Stadium, and also made a huge defensive play when he picked up a little tap off the bat of Charles Johnson with Moises Alou at second base and nobody out, and made a daring play. Instead of taking the sure out at first, he fired to third and just got Alou cutting down the lead runner and short-circuiting a potential rally.
And that was a big play because they would have had runners at first and third with no one out, and still there was a runner at first with 1 out.
A strike from Leiter.
Well, the one thing that Jim Leyland has to be happy about is Leiter is throwing strikes. He's been able to make the pitches that he wants to make. He just has not been able to get out of this inning. But he has not thrown a curveball this entire first inning.
0-2.
Well, that's his 24th pitch here in the opening inning. Indians have tied the game. But again, as Joe said at the top of the telecast, Leiter throws hard, good cut, fastball, slider, curve, control, time to time is a problem for it.
One and two. Justice at third. Williams at first. With 2 out, and here comes the 1-2 pitch. Moves him away. 2-2.
Well, it appears to me that maybe they've just made up their minds that they're going to pitch everyone inside because of the cold weather. Because every pitch he's thrown this entire inning has been inside. And as I mentioned, he has not thrown a curveball, which is one of his best pitches. He has a good overhand curveball, but he's trying to throw all fastballs and sliders in on the hands of these right-handed hitters.
Foul called back. Still 2-2. A moment ago, you saw Leiter's career postseason record of 1-1. He made 3 appearances out of the Toronto bullpen earlier in this decade in World Series play, and although he didn't pitch well, he was 1-0. Another broken bat, a little bloop, coming in Alou, going out Renteria. Renteria can't handle it, and the Indians have the lead. Look at Leiter. He's saying to himself, I'm pitching in on their hands, I'm busting their bats, and I'm losing.
Well, but that's not always the key to success. Yes, he's throwing in on their hands, but you can jam a guy and he can still get a base hit. He jams Alomar here, and this ball is hitting the shallow left field. Renteria got a good jump on it. He goes out, and he can't quite make the catch. Alou knew he couldn't make the catch, so he let Renteria take it all the way. And Renteria tries to make the catch. He cannot come down with it. But when you're a pitcher like Leiter and you hit these guys on their fist, they will bloop some balls in. I mean, that's the difficult part of pitching in consistently. You just pitch everybody in, you're going to get some jam jobs. Especially when you're pitching up and in.
Now Jim Thome.
Well, this huge crowd at Jacobs Field really into this one early.
Swing and a miss by Jim. He has been benched against some left-handers in this postseason in the throes of a slump, but Leiter is not the kind of lefty against whom Hargrove is likely to sit Thome down, because Leiter's not that cute kind of left-hander who throws the sweeping breaking stuff. He'll come right at you, and Thome handles that kind of pitcher better. A ball and a strike.
Well, because from time to time, Bob, against a guy like Leiter who throws that fastball, and we've been talking about the cutter that breaks in to a right-hander or away from a left-hander, Thome's got that ability to go the other way. And Hargrove said the other day in Florida, it looks like he's really starting to come around.
2 balls and a strike to the Indian first baseman.
How about looking back on that play by Leiter on Roberts, Bob? If he makes the play, it's a 1-2-3 inning.
And a strike as the fastball is high.
Look at this crowd here. Everybody's starting to get on their feet. I mean, this place is jammed up, and they're on their feet. They're loud, and they love it here in Cleveland.
Tonight's a night when you want to move around just to keep the blood pumping.
Leiter might feel like he's been unlucky here in the first inning, but I don't agree. I think they just pitch everyone inside, and the good hitters just fight off the pitches inside, and that's exactly what has happened.
The 3-1. Fouled off, full count. I looked in the stands, and 6 of the vendors were St. Bernards. Man, it's cold.
Yeah. Well, they said it was 47 degrees at game time. He's a little early, but he's here. They said it's warmer near Lake Erie. Let me say this. It's warmer in Lake Erie.
And knowing you might actually have checked. The runners go on the 3-2 pitch. Come on back, Jim. He was heading for first, thinking he had walked. But Joe West calls him out on strikes. They score 2, they leave 2. 2-1 Cleveland after 1. The aerial shots for tonight's game provided by Goodyear and the Spirit of Akron, hangar just 30 miles south of Jacobs Field. Darren Dalton starts it against Charles Nagy in the top half of the second. 2-1 Indians. In the first, Gary Sheffield delivered a blast for the Marlins. But that was more than countered by a walk, an error, and 2 broken bat bloops that produced 2 for Cleveland and left Leiter shaking his head.
There's a breaking ball from Charles Nagy off the inside corner on Dalton. That's the pattern for Nagy. low and away, and then that breaking ball off speed stuff inside.
Hit hard to right. Manny Ramirez racing over to take it.
I don't think you can change your pattern completely to pitch just because it's cold. I think you have to pitch your normal way, and that's what Nagy is doing. He's mixing in some breaking balls. This was a breaking ball out over the plate. Dalton hit it hard, but Ramirez got a good jump on it and kind of relaxes out there and makes the catch.
He gave that one kind of a nonchalant shot there. It's cold, but he's styling.
Moises Alou had the big 3-run homer in Game 1, which the Marlins won 7-4. Nagy's pitch is a ball. This is Nagy's second career World Series start. Started Game 3 also at Jacobs Field against Atlanta in 1995. He was hit hard but not involved in the decision. The Indians came back and won the game in extra innings.
Now there's a curveball that Nagy doesn't want to throw too much tonight. We saw what Alou can do with a pitch like that in the series in Florida. He hung one that time, and Alou took it.
1-2.
Here's that last pitch on Alou. This is where Nagy wants to be on right-handed hitters. Watch this one. There's a splitter down low and outside, and Alou went after it.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Bob, the reason I said the ball carries just as well in cold weather is because you do not play with the same baseball, and it doesn't have time to get cold. They keep the balls warm in the back room, they bring them out, and you play. That's why the ball will still carry in cold weather.
Called strike 3.
Well, he threw him a lot of breaking balls. Curveball in for a ball, curveball for a strike, a splitter away for strike 2, another splitter in the dirt, and then he comes back with a good curveball and he buckles Alou's knees, and it's called strike 3. He really didn't throw him a fastball the entire at bat.
Ball 1 to the veteran Eisenreich, DHing tonight. Some experience against Nagy back in his American League days. 3 for 7, as you saw.
Jim Eisenreich talked about doing the DHing tonight, Bob, and what he was going to do, or what he had to do to try and keep himself loose between at bats. Running up and down the tunnels here.
Lines it to center. Grissom started back, comes in, reaches down to pick it off. Florida goes in order. 2-1 Cleveland. Temperature hasn't dropped much, if at all, since we came on the air. 48 degrees at that time. Appears to be about the same now. We've all been at a lot of ball games, some of them in April and in October, where it does get cold. This feels colder than 48 degrees to me.
A little wind chill here. The wind is always a factor. I don't mind the cold. That wind blowing in is what bothers players more than anything else.
The switch hitter Fernandez. A 400 hitter from the right side this year, including in the postseason.
Bob, to finish up that story on Jimmy Eisenreich, there's areas down here underneath the dugouts and the tunnels where you can run, you can hit. I mean, you can really keep yourself loose and warm.
Fouled off 1-1.
Talking about those DHs, people might think, hey, how do you sit on a bench all night long and keep yourself ready and not get cold? Well, they're pretty comfortable here, and the dugouts are heated anyway.
Hit to the hole, base hit. Fernandez now has hits in his last 4 at-bats, dating back to the pennant-winning homer in Game 6 of the ALCS.
When you're swinging the bat well, it's usually because you're getting pitches in your zone. Look at this. Now watch every pitch to Grissom. He has 5 base hits, all of them down around the knees. He is really handling the low ball very well. And I think if you're the Marlins, you're going to have to change your pitching pattern. Look at that. He's hitting everything down, whether it's a breaking ball or a fastball.
He has hit safely in every World Series game in which he has played. 12 the previous 2 years with Atlanta, 2 this year. And now his career World Series batting average of .441 surpasses Paul Molitor and Pepper Martin for first all time among those with more than 50 at-bats. 5 for 7 in this series. You've got a pretty good lineup when a guy like this hits ninth. 2-0.
Grissom showed bunt on the first pitch from Leiter, and that brought Bobby Bonilla up at third. He's about even with the bag there. Playing shallow on Grissom.
3-0. Grissom is 3 away from the all-time World Series hitting streak record held by the Yankees' Hank Bauer. That's 17. Right now he's tied for second with Roberto Clemente, who hit safely in every game of the World Series in 1960 and 71. Called strike. Both 7-game World Series, both won by Clemente's Pirates. And there's the proof. At second base, Counsell to Renteria for 1. Guns to first, double play. So Fernandez and Grissom are out on the 4-6-3, and we remind you can follow the World Series online at MLBWorldSeries.com. Reds All-Star and 1995 MVP Barry Larkin is online right now answering questions about the game and the series. Plus check out the photo slideshow of the postseason to date and listen into the post-game press conferences at MLBWorldSeries.com. Cybercaster Barry Larkin. Biff Roberts lines it back at Leiter. And this time he handles it.
And this was in the first inning. Biff Roberts hits a little chopper back to Al Leiter. He couldn't field this ball, and that led to 2 runs by the Indians. And then here in the second inning, watch this. He hits a line drive back through the middle and hits him right there. That feels like a ton of bees in your hand right now. Watch his expression here. Wow.
Charles Johnson starts it against Nagy as we move to the third.
You better catch everything in the web, Bob.
I tell you, they can tell me all they want about catching, how bad it is. I wouldn't want to be on the other end. I wouldn't. Some balls hit back through the middle, they can have them.
The 1-1 pitch misses. 2 balls and a strike. You were saying before the game, Uke, that on a cold night like tonight, it's really the pitcher and the catcher who are the least uncomfortable. Hit softly to right, it'll drop for a leadoff hit.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're moving all the time. You're throwing back and forth. And the one thing I think we should point out here, too, in talking with both managers, neither is going to hold back because it's cold in trying to move runners. Steal, play hit-and-run baseball. And that's one of the areas where guys like Alomar and Johnson in this particular series are going to be able to throw. I mean, you're back and forth, you're throwing, you're loose. It's not a problem for you. Infielders and outfielders, after you stand around for a while, you have a tendency to get stiffened.
Here's Craig Counsell taking a strike. Counsell was saying before the game, hey, I grew up in Milwaukee. I live now in South Bend. Attended Notre Dame, as a matter of fact. I love playing in weather like this.
Yeah.
What I don't love is the fact that the Fighting Irish are 2-5. That I don't like.
Well, his father's here tonight. I know John Counsell worked in the front office in Milwaukee, Bob, for a long time, and I had a chance to talk with him in Miami, and he's really happy, really excited for Craig. Guy's been around a long time and finally gets his shot here.
Nagy's 1-1 pitch. Popped up wide of third. Matt Williams over. No play on top of the dugout.
Bob, I played in the first Sunday night World Series game I ever played, and it was real cold. Remember, Bowie Kuhn was sitting there without a coat on. The one thing I remember is it was really cold before the game. But once the game started, I do not remember being cold. I think, yeah, 1976, Yankees red. That's the coldest one so far.
Johnson at first, nobody out. And the 1-2 pitch struck him out.
Well, you see Charles Nagy is pitching his normal type game. And as I mentioned, Leiter seems to be trying to jam everyone.
Here's that last sequence. Fastball on the outside corner. Right back with it again, just off. Then Counsell, little pop fly. There's the breaking ball down low and inside. Counsell out of there on a strikeout.
Second strikeout for Nagy tonight. Bringing up Devon White, who grounded to first in the first. White has had a lot of big postseason moments, as you see, with the Angels and then with the Blue Jays, but only 190 this year. Included, however, among his few base hits was a grand slam home run off the Giants' Wilson Alvarez that pretty much clinched the sweep of the division series against the Giants.
One of the reasons he's not hitting as well as he normally does is because he's not as patient. He's been swinging at a lot of bad pitches.
2 balls and a strike.
Been featuring a lot of off-speed stuff to Devon White, changeups down low and inside, and even going down and away. And here again, Charles Nagy now 2 balls and a strike. Don't be surprised to see him come off speed down and inside on Devon White.
He falls behind him 3-1. Al Leiter goes to the hot water bottle, as you might expect, between innings.
Maybe to get some feeling back in that gloved hand too.
Ball 4. That's the first walk that Nagy has issued tonight. Runners are at first and second with 1 out for Edgar Renteria.
Number 16, Edgar Renteria.
Renteria hit .277 during the regular season. Last year, as a rookie, he batted .309. Sheffield is on deck, and barring a double play, Nagy's going to have to pitch to him with men on base. Good pitch for a strike.
Mike Hargrove was telling us before the game about Nagy and that outing against Baltimore when he was nibbling early in the game, Bob, and they really got on him. They said, you've got to challenge the hitters a little bit more. You can't keep nibbling.
It bounces away from Alomar, but not far enough to allow Johnson to advance.
That last pitch, and a good play by Alomar. It's in the dirt. It's a breaking ball down low. Alomar getting his body down in front of it and knocking it down. It rolled away, but not far enough for either runner to advance. 79 miles an hour, 9-inch break on that ball.
The 1-1. 2-1. And for those of you who haven't seen it to this point, although I would guess there are few who fall into that category if you've been following the postseason, supervision is a computer tracking of the pitch's speed and break. Three and 1 with Sheffield on deck.
Now this is just what Hargrove was talking about with Nagy, and the fact that he tries to nibble too much. I mean, he's got to challenge every once in a while, sooner or later, and especially with a guy like Sheffield in the on-deck circle, you got to challenge a guy like Renteria.
Called strike, full count.
This is a situation where Jim Leyland might want to put his runners in motion.
Johnson at second, White at first. They go on the 3-2 pitch, and now they can slow up. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Sheffield. Here's what he did his first time up. It's his third homer of the postseason, all of them solo shots. Now he'll bat with the bases loaded. The Marlins trail 2-1, but making noise here in the top of the third. Ball one.
Take a look at the scouting report for Gary Sheffield. It's a great fastball hitter. You got to throw him breaking balls and off-speed pitches. He will chase pitches with 2 strikes, but you have to get ahead of him. And to do that, you have to throw a few strikes. He can handle the fastball and the curveball in the strike zone.
He lays off, and now he's ahead of him 2-0, and Nagy is working himself into a very difficult situation where he's going to have to come in with something to Sheffield, who's going to be in a spot where he can afford to sit on something, at least for a pitch or two.
Well, the man he really had to go after was Renteria, and really tried to hit the corners and breaking stuff, off-speed stuff. Never challenged him. Now he's really in a jam with Sheffield.
3-0.
This is very good patience by Sheffield. That pitch there, you know, a lot of hitters would have gone after that 2-0, little sinker on the outside part of the plate. But he's shown a lot of patience in this postseason. That's one of the reasons that he's swinging the bat so well, because he's seeing it well.
I don't know if he's going to show any patience here. 3-0. Yep.
Called strike, 3-1. The switch hitter Bonilla is on deck. Now the 3-1 pitch. He walks in a run to tie the game. His third consecutive walk. White, Renteria, and then Sheffield.
Well, he did not really want to challenge Gary Sheffield in this situation. He was hoping he could get him to go for something out in the strike zone. You'll see none of these pitches are real good pitches to hit. Even when he went to 3-0, he came on a fastball up and in on the inside part of the plate. But ball 4, I mean, he was 3-1. He was not about to give him something that he could hit. And you see, I think Mike Hargrove is telling him, if you're not going to throw strikes, you're going to be in trouble all night. And we need you to be more aggressive, go after the hitters. And like you're saying, he should have gone after Renteria. That was the guy that he wanted.
Absolutely. You know, in watching Alomar set up, Joe, with Nagy, he's setting up off the outside corner and takes Nagy to a count where he gets behind. Although that's not Alomar's fault. I mean, he's calling the pitches. If Nagy throws them, and again, you got to challenge. I mean, sooner or later, you got to bang, throw it in there, strike one, then go from there.
Nagy has been a consistent winner throughout his career, but if there is a criticism of him, it's that sometimes he seems to pitch as if he doesn't believe in his own stuff.
You're right, and that's the thing that Hargrove was talking about, Bob, that he doesn't challenge.
Now Bonilla, who swings on the first pitch and rolls it foul. He grounded out his first time up. Coming into this game, he was 5 for 8 lifetime off Nagy. As you see, the postseason started very slowly for him. Then he broke out in Game 5 against Greg Maddux in the NLCS, and he's continued to hit since then.
Well, he started keeping his front shoulder in and not pulling off so many pitches.
The 0-1 pitch hits sharply to Tomey. He gets 1. They peg it back, and they get 2 on the very difficult 3-6-1 double play with Nagy covering at the back end. A tie game after 2.5. Tied at 2 as we move to the bottom of the third. Game time temperature 48 degrees. We've just been told the present wind chill is 29. Lighter to Vizquel. Ball 1. Omar, the latest in a series of slick fielding shortstops out of Venezuela that includes Chico Carrascal, Luis Aparicio, and Joe Morgan's ex-teammate Dave Concepcion.
And he's the fancy and the flashiest of the group. All of them were very good, and he's an excellent shortstop too.
Leiter's 2-0 pitch. 3-0. Vizquel began his career with Seattle and was a very fine player there, but they had Alex Rodriguez coming up through their system. So as good as Vizquel is, they had to trade him to make room for A-Rod. 3-1.
Well, the guy they made the deal for in bringing Vizquel here was Felix Fermin. Bob, remember him? Going to Seattle and winding up without a job out there. He became a utility player out there.
Joe West, no doubt, does not appreciate what just happened there. Vizquel crossing the plate, heading for first, and West says, no. Did I say ball 4? I said strike 2. In the air to center field. White coming in. And he has it. Let's go back to the inning-ending double play in the top of the third, made possible in part by the fact that Bobby Bonilla is hobbling with the hamstring.
Well, again, if this is not Bonilla running, they may not turn the double play. They get the easy force at second, and there's Charles Nagy, and they turn the double play on Bonilla. Again, he came out of the box fairly well, but as he was running down the line, he really started to pull up. There you see him running fairly well. Now he's pulling up. He's gone. And it's a double play, and Nagy got out of a very, very big jam.
A jam largely of his own making as he walked 3 in a row. But they score only 1. Ball 1 to Ramirez. Broken bat roller. Bonilla knocks it down, scrambles to pick it up, and now he has to eat it. That'll be the second error of the night for Florida.
Well, Bonilla has played very good defense in the postseason, and I don't think there's any doubt that his hamstring bothers him on this. See, he doesn't really push off that quickly to get over there, so he ends up trying to backhand it. He had time to get in front of it if he could have pushed off quick enough. Watch, he doesn't push off of that left leg. He just takes a couple of steps, tries to backhand it. But, you know, he's going to have problems catching ground balls. If you have a bad hamstring, you have problems because you can't bend or push off like you would want to.
David Justice walked his first time up. Plate ump Joe West rubbing his hands together, trying to generate some warmth.
A lot of teams are going to that defense where they have their first baseman off the bag. It really should not affect the base runner. You get your normal lead, and even if you want to, you can even take a lead a little behind the bag so that he can't get back there to you. So I don't think that really works to deter the runner from stealing a base, but I think it helps the first baseman get in fielding position.
Foul back 1-1. Al Leiter will turn 32 the day after tomorrow. For his entire career, he's been a markedly better pitcher at home, wherever home has been, than on the road. The difference in the figures is truly striking. 1-1 pitch in the air to right. Sheffield going back to the track, nearly to the wall, makes the catch in front of the 375 sign, and Ramirez heads back to first.
And you can see the wind push that baseball. He jammed Justice, and if he wouldn't have jammed him, that ball would have gone way out of here. But he jammed him, and the ball just keeps carrying. And a good job by Sheffield. He never slowed down, so he keeps going back. Now he finds the wall, and he continues to go. That was a fine play by Sheffield because the wind really helped push that ball. It pushed at least another 20 feet.
That ball is a real indicator because it was not hit well at all and traveled 370 some feet. Keep that in mind if someone should really get hold of one in that direction. The ballpark won't hold it. Fastball high to Williams.
Well, even a right-handed batter, Bob, there are a couple of right-handed hitters in both lineups that can reach that right field area very easily. Again, you got a 15-20 mile an hour wind blowing and gusting even better than that from time to time.
Take it back on the first pitch. Joe West disagreed with my call, and his opinion is the one that counts, so make it 0-1. That's a ball. Here's Justice's swing again.
And watch, this ball is in on him. You see him pull his elbows in trying to get the barrel of the bat on the ball. He couldn't get it there. He got jammed, but the ball just kept going back. See, Sheffield thought he was going to catch it 20 feet shorter than he actually caught it.
Ramirez, who reached on an error by Bonilla, is at first with 2 down in the bottom of the 3rd. A 2-2 tie in Game 3. The series tied at a game apiece. Toward the hole, Renteria from the outfield grass heads to second on a dandy play, Counsell covering, and that finishes the Indians in the 3rd. Still a 2-2 tie. About a half an hour before tonight's first pitch, that's Jim Leyland waving to his 85-year-old mom, Veronica, who made the ride of about 90 miles from Perrysburg, Ohio, Jim's hometown. Now we're back live, and there's Veronica watching the game. Jim also has 4 brothers and a sister in attendance tonight. Darren Daulton starts it off against Nagy and takes a ball. He sent a 12-passenger limo to pick up friends and family members and drive them from Perrysburg to Cleveland for tonight's game. Daulton with a long drive to right, but it's foul. I asked him whether his mom knows very much about baseball or if she just roots for him. He said, Bob, let me put it this way. When I was with the Tigers, I told my mom I don't think I can coach for them this year because Sparky Anderson has Alex Grammas at 3rd. In the air to right center and very well hit by Darren Daulton, and with the wind you can tell it goodbye. It's the 2nd homer of the night for the Florida Marlins. Sheffield had one earlier. There was no way on a night like this that wasn't going to leave the yard.
Well, Sheffield's ball was actually into the wind because the wind was blowing from left field to right field. This one is blowing out to right field, and he hits it, and Daulton hit the ball pretty hard. This is more of a line drive. This is not really a fly ball. And see, that's a line drive. He hits that right out there on the sweet spot, and he gets enough of it to get it over the right field wall.
Remember we talked about Nagy earlier, Joe, about hanging breaking balls and the off-speed stuff? That one was right there for Daulton, and he nailed it. Here's the reaction by Charles Nagy. Yep. Right down the pipe and out of here.
He's trailing again, 3-2. And it's 0-2 to Moises Alou. So anyway, as I was saying, Leyland says to his mom, Sparky Anderson has Alex Grammas coaching 3rd and Dick Trzewiski coaching 1st. I don't think there's any room for me. And Veronica says, well, son, couldn't you coach 2nd? Pop wide of 1st, and Tommy doesn't have a play. So I asked Jim, will she really be able to follow the game tonight? She says, you know, he said she might not really know what's happening, but she'll be able to feel it. She'll be able to feel the emotion of it. Well fortified against the cold, a very good idea tonight. 0-2 pitch, center field, Grissom. Ramirez also there. Now Manny wants it in right center for the catch.
Now pitching coach Mark Wiley was on the phone just a couple of minutes ago, and there's the reason why. Brian Anderson is up in the Indians bullpen.
A hardy soul, pitching in shirt sleeves. Here's Eisenreich taking one low.
You don't think it's windy. It is. You may be able to hear it. That's not us breathing. That's the wind through the field microphones.
Fernandez can't flag this one down. A base hit for Eisenreich. So he's a comedy on NBC next Tuesday, including Just Shoot Me. A strike to Charles Johnson. He singled his first time up. The Marlins have reclaimed the lead on the Dalton home run. Two to Johnson.
Well, for one of the few times tonight, Charles Nagy out in front of a Marlins batter. I mean, he's going after Johnson here.
One and two. Nagy pitched well his last time out. Although he allowed 9 hits in 7 1/3 at Baltimore, they didn't score off him. He was matched against Mike Messina. When he left, the game was still scoreless. And of course, the Orioles went on to win it in 11, 1-0 on the Tony Fernandez home run. The Indians. Did I say Orioles?
You're close. It was the same.
Close. It was one of the two. Had to be. My brain has frozen. The 2-2 pitch. Rolled slowly to the left side. Williams in front of Vizquel gets the force, but not the double play.
Well, this is a slow hit ball. It's not your normal double play speed, but Matt Williams makes a quick throw to second. Now, Tony Fernandez is able to get rid of this ball quickly because he was a shortstop. He's got a strong arm, so he can throw off balance and get enough on the ball to get it to first base. A lot of second basemen aren't able to make that throw. Here's Williams. He gives him the toss. Now watch, he's off balance, and he just flips it with nothing but his arm. He didn't have any body behind it, and that's the arm of a shortstop. That's why he can do that. And he won Gold Gloves at shortstop.
Counsell struck out his first time. It was almost miraculous that the Indians won both of those games in which Mike Messina of the Orioles pitched like Sandy Koufax. Somehow they did.
Tony Fernandez is kind of the captain of this infield. He's been around the longest, so you'll see him give the signs to Vizquel on who's covering second base in case of a steal here by Charles Johnson. Right there, open as you, closed as me, so it'll be the shortstop if he breaks on that. And the reason that's important is because if the shortstop's covering on a hit and run, you know exactly where you can hit the ball to get a base hit.
The 1-2 pitch. He's gone. But the home run by Dalton gives Florida the lead again. 3-2 as the Indians come up in the fourth. It says here that for a look inside the Goodyear blimp Spirit of Akron, you can click on www.goodyear.com. And I say to myself, if you're clicking on to talk to Barry Larkin and then you want to look inside the Goodyear blimp, when are you watching the game? Just wondering.
Must be a heck of a ride up there tonight with these winds.
Oh, man.
20, 25 miles an hour. Nice going, guys.
Leiter's got a lead again. And he'll face Sandy Alomar in the bottom of the fourth. Alomar's broken bat single just beyond the reach of Edgar Renteria in shallow left gave the Indians a 2-1 lead in the first.
Leiter pretty much, Bob, staying right with what he did from the opening inning on. Basically away, and then bam, bam, bam inside on these right-handed batters. There's Johnson setting up inside.
There it is, and Alomar rips it into the seats.
Alomar asking the home plate umpire, Joe West, was that ball off the inside? West said, yeah. Tough pitch to hit fair.
2 balls and a strike. For his career at home, whether home was with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, or the Marlins, Al Leiter is 34-13, but on the road 21-33. That's a huge disparity, and it's reflected as well in the earned run averages, and this year was no different. 2.28 at home and almost 6.5 away. Go figure. Here's his 2-2 pitch to Alomar. Full count. And he walks him. That's the second walk issued by Leiter tonight. Control has always been a problem for him. Last year he led the National League in walks, even though he won 16 games. Let's go to Keith Olbermann.
How cold is it, Bob? Sandy Alomar could not get the donut off his bat before that last at bat, and only with the assistance of Charlie Manuel, the hitting instructor, and finally Jim Thome did he get his own bat, his #1 bat for the at-bat, as you see them switch it just before that last at-bat. So cold donuts here on the field, Bob.
You know, that's a problem. When you use a glazed donut, it tends to be sticky.
Yeah. Put a little pine tar on there before you dip it a little pine tar before you taste.
Thome struck out his first time. Way high.
We got Thome out the first time up using sliders. He starts him off with a fastball this time, but I think you'll still see him go back to the breaking ball.
Cuts and misses 1-1.
Not a bad cut that time by Thome. He got him looking the first time up on a breaking ball on the outside corner. And again, as we mentioned, Thome against a guy like Leiter who doesn't have that really big breaking ball. Has it, but hasn't used it tonight. Again, Hargrove said he might have a better shot.
Threw it by him again. Leiter has such good stuff that he can pitch brilliant games, including a no-hitter in 1996 against the hard-hitting Colorado Rockies.
You're right. This is a fastball. This is the high fastball, 95 miles an hour. You're not going to catch up with that. I mean, that fastball there, look at it. 3-inch movement, caught the inner half of the plate. You're not going to handle that pitch if you're a left-handed hitter.
2-2. On the other hand, Leiter's history has been that he can come apart quickly. A walk here, a base hit there, and boom, a big inning.
And the reason for that is that when he gets in trouble, he does overthrow. He tries to throw too hard, and then he has to take a little off just to throw a strike, and he gets himself in trouble.
And he runs the count out full. He walked Alomar to start the inning. Now 3-2 on Thome.
Well, this crowd again, everybody here for the most part is standing. Joe, when you get locked in here on a 3-2 pitch, and if it's anywhere, I mean around the belt anyway, you talked earlier about Thome chasing upstairs. I mean, if it's anywhere around the belt, I mean, this guy, if he's not looking fastball, then he's going to be an out anyway. I mean, I'm looking fastball here and really trying to air it out.
I am of the belief you always look for the fastball and adjust to anything else.
He lays off. Second straight walk. 2 on, nobody out. Tomorrow on NBC, Game 4 of the series starts at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Again, of course, from Jacobs Field. The pitching coach, Larry Rothschild, comes trotting to the mound. And they decide this is a good time to just about hold a team meeting. All but the outfielders come to the mound.
Well, again, as Nagy did when the Marlins got him for a run back in the third. Nagy walked 3 in that inning. And here, Leiter has put Alomar and Thome aboard.
Well, if I read Rothschild's lips correctly, he says don't throw him a first pitch fastball. So we'll see what he does here.
Nagy for the moment trailing 3-2. But his mates have something going here. Fernandez with Grissom on deck.
No, I didn't read lips too well. That was a cut fastball, but he said no, do not start him with a fastball.
They may just have been shivering too, Joe. That.
Well, but this is, you know, kind of typical of what gets Leiter in trouble.
Yep.
Whenever he gets in trouble, he overthrows. He's trying to throw the ball too hard. And he ends up throwing a lot of high pitches. And occasionally they'll catch up with one of those high pitches.
2-0.
Everything has been upstairs this entire inning.
Leiter's second go-round in the World Series, out of the Toronto bullpen in '93 as a starter for Jim Leland in Florida in '97. And if the rotations hold up, and if there is a Game 7, Leiter is the likely Game 7 pitcher for the Marlins. Whack to center field. White turns around and tracks it down. The runners tag, and both are going to move up. An especially good play by Thome to move up from first to second.
Now there's a play where Devon White didn't get himself in the proper throwing position. He lazily went after that ball. I mean, you can watch Devon White do this time after time, and not to say that he's not a good outfielder, because he is, but this ball is drifting toward right center because of that wind blowing out there. There's Devon White with a very nonchalant catch, not thinking runners were going to tag at least one of them, but Thome advances 2 on the long fly to right center. And here's Grissom.
In a situation where a single could give them the lead, one of the best hitters in series history, statistically the best, takes ball 1. 2 youngsters, Alfonseca and Heredia, get warm, or as warm as you can get on a night like this.
Well, they wanted to stay away from getting the ball around Grissom's knees.
Well, that's nowhere near his knees.
Well, he walked him the first time up trying to throw him high fastballs. He tried to get the ball up on him, and he finally got him to hit a double play, but you try to stay up. Remember, all the pitches we showed you he hit were all down around the knees.
The 2-0.
This is Marquise Grissom's hit chart. I mean, almost, look at that, almost completely even. You can't pick where he's going to hit the ball.
Three and 1 to Grissom, who's 0 for 1 tonight, 5 for 8 in the series. He hit into a 4-6-3 double play his first time up tonight. They come to their feet at Jacobs Field on the 3-1 pitch, which is foul to the seats.
Pretty good pitch by Leiter that time, down around the inside corner on Grissom. He chased it, hit the foul ball. One more time. There it is, down. Grissom got a piece, fouls it to the right side, and he's run it full now. Here it is again, a good fastball by Leiter.
The payoff pitch. Walked him, and the bases are loaded. Bibb Roberts has twice hit the ball back to Leiter. The first time, Leiter botched the play. Bibb reached on an error and later scored. The second time, he hit a blur back at him, and somehow Leiter caught it. That nearly hit it.
Now, that was one of those pitches where Roberts took a chance to turn his body inside to try and get Nick, but just missed him. Watch it again. Fastball inside, turned him around, and almost nailed it.
1-0 pitch, fouled off. Leiter hit 12 batters this year and 11 last year, so he will come inside, as we've been saying. That's part of his pitching pattern, and sometimes a little bit too far inside. Bases loaded, 1 out. And this will also make the seats.
I'll tell you what, he's running it up there now, and again, as Joe said, that pitch upstairs, that high fastball, I mean, you really got to get an early start on it, and it's awfully tough to get on top of it.
Gets him swinging on a clutch pitch down and in with the bases loaded, and look at Roberts' reaction.
Well, he threw 2 good high fastballs to get this sequence started. Watch this. Fastball in, then the high fastball that he fouled. He can't catch up with another high fastball he's late on, and then a slider down and in. He tries to hurry up to catch up with the fastball, and then you swing at a bad pitch. That was a good sequence there. Good pitch calling there by Charles Johnson.
It's up to Vizquel. They check down at first, and Greg Koss says no, ball 1.
That made everybody here at Jacobs Field happy. That call by Greg Koss. Again, pitch upstairs, and Vizquel checked.
The strikeout of Roberts was only Leiter's second, but it came when he needed it. Vizquel pops it back. Johnson has no play.
There you see Vizquel's strikeout ratio, 1 per 9 at-bats during the season, 1 almost around every 4 at-bats during the postseason. And so far, he has not been able to handle that fastball middle of the plate in from Leiter.
He's 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out, fly down. Here's the 1-1. 2-1. Alomar's at third. Tomey's at second. Grissom's at first. They all walked. Three balls and a strike.
Well, the one thing I've noticed about Vizquel in these types of situations, he makes you throw 2 strikes. He does not help you out by chasing a 3-1 pitch.
And he takes strike 2.
And that's, in my opinion, that's a wise move for a guy like Vizquel, who's not swinging the bat well. Make him throw 2 strikes and not 1 to get out of the jam.
Well, 7 times Leiter has run the count full in this game.
And Vizquel will make him throw another one.
Tried to take that ball to right field, a fastball around the outside, tried to poke it to right field and fouled it back. Again, Leiter with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Watch Vizquel try to take that ball to right field.
And we'll do it all over again. With the runners going on 3 and 2, of course, and Grissom, the trailing runner at first base, anything hit toward the lines or in the gaps would probably score Marquise from first. He walks home the 3rd Indian run. Without a hit, Cleveland ties the game on 4 walks in the bottom of the 4th.
And that was a good at-bat for Vizquel. He took the 3-1 pitch and made him have to throw some more strikes. and he gets the job done. He gets a run in.
And now they'll have to deal with Manny Ramirez. Walks for Leiter tonight, 4 of them in this inning. Ramirez rolls it slowly. Bonilla coming in. Throws, double clutches, the ball gets away. 1 run is home. Now here comes Grissom, 2-run score. He had a play if he made it cleanly. Once he double clutched, he might have been better off holding it.
Well, it's only a matter of time before, if you have an injury out there or something bothering you, that you're going to make a mistake. You see right there, he is off balance. You see he's not bending down. I mean, it's just a tough play for a guy that's injured, especially when you have a bad hamstring. I mean, he does a good job of getting to it, but you can see him dragging that leg, and then he tries to throw off of his right leg. He doesn't want to throw off his left leg, and he throws it in the dirt.
Well, it's the second time that Ramirez has reached on an error by Bonilla. He did it back in the 3rd with 1 man out. Didn't cost him there. But here in the 4th inning, very costly. And the Indians on top. We talked about this Marlin defense being so solid, and it has been. But tonight, 3 very costly errors.
2 of the 3 figuring in the scoring. It's 5-3 Cleveland as Justice takes a ball.
You talked, Bob, at the top of the telecast about Leiter and his control. Talked about 4 to 5 walks per game. That's his average, and he's right on course tonight.
Or worse. Fouled off 1-1. Of the 5 Cleveland runs are unearned. And the one that wasn't unearned scores as a result of 4 walks. So they haven't exactly hammered Leiter. This is the kind of outing that sends you to the ledge. You say to yourself afterwards, you know, I had good stuff. My defense, and I was part of it in the 1st inning with my own error, and my wildness, that's what did me in.
Yep. Well, you're right. He does have good stuff, but he's not able to get it over the plate often enough, especially in this inning. But when you have something out, a troublesome spot out there, the ball will always find you, and that ball chopped in with Bonilla was just a tough play.
The 1-2 pitch slashed at Bonilla. He goes to his knees, pegs it to Counsell, and finally, they're out of the inning. But the Indians get 3, and they'll take them any way they can get them. They have the lead.
Welcome back to the World Series. I'm Jim Gray. I'm now joined by Veronica Leland, the 85-year-old mother of Jim Leland. She made the trip up here. Mrs. Leland, how proud of you are you of your son, and how much does this mean to you that he finally made it to the World Series?
It means a great deal to me because I've been wanting this for a good long time.
Did you ever have any doubts? There were so many disappointments. Did you ever doubt that he would make it here?
No, I really felt that his day would come.
Now, he tells us that you follow the games, you have a feel for the games. You do have some trouble seeing the game, however. Do you ever give him any advice?
Well, not really.
How come?
Because I wouldn't want to in a situation like that.
Now your son Tom and 4 of his brothers are here tonight. 1 sister. He's giving you the play-by-play, so you're able to follow the game, correct?
That's right.
Mrs. Leland, congratulations to you. We hope it all works out the best for Jim.
Well, thank you.
All right, Bob, let's send it back upstairs to you.
Thanks, Jim Gray. Tom Leland, mentioned by Jim, is a priest who married Jim and Katie Leland back in 1987, performed the service. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Devon White, leading off in the 5th. Nagy's in front now, 5-3.
For a moment there, I thought you were going to say Tom Leland married so-and-so. I think, wait a minute, this can't happen.
That would be a first.
That can't happen.
Had there been some sort of ruling from Rome that had somehow skipped past us? 3-2.
There's Tom. Father Tom.
The 3-2 pitch is skied to center. Grissom goes back and has it lined up. We mentioned that many of Jim Leyland's family members and friends made the drive from Perrysburg, Ohio in a 12-passenger limo he sent for them. When he came up to the major leagues as a coach for Tony La Russa with the White Sox sent a limo to take him to the ballpark. He got in the limo after all those years in the minor leagues. A ball to Edgar Renteria. The driver looked back over his shoulder and said, "First time in a limo?" And Jim said, "Yeah, unless you count the one I drove for the Perrysburg mortuary." Through the middle, base hit.
I got a kick out of the story, too, the same story in that same line, Bob, where he said when he joined the White Sox, he had a $72 ticket, airplane ticket, when he joined the Sox, and he handed it in to the White Sox front office, and they asked him if he ran. So you didn't really take a plane, did you? You must have run for $72.
He said, "Hey, you're in the big leagues now. You can go first class. You don't have to save us money by getting those super savers."
$72 gets you on the wing, outside, hanging on.
Well, Sheffield comes to the plate as the tying run. He's homered and walked. Renteria at first with one out. And a called strike.
Sheffield hit a fastball for his home run in the first inning. Now he starts him off here with a curveball. But he can handle a curveball if you throw it in the strike zone.
There's one. Low throw, but Tomey's got it. And the 6-4-3 finishes Sheffield and the Marlins in the fifth. Jim Leyland came into Cleveland knowing that the Indians were going to face the softer side of his rotation. First Al Leiter, then tomorrow the rookie Tony Saunders, both left-handers. Leiter trails 5-3 as he works in the fifth, and Matt Williams takes one high and away. The ball Manny Ramirez hit that Bobby Bonilla threw away in the fourth originally was scored as an error all the way. Now it's been changed, charitably perhaps, to an infield single plus an error. Williams grounds it foul. So 3 of the 5 runs rather than 4. Now 3 of the 5 runs scored by Cleveland are unearned. The 1-1 pitch. Already at 100 pitches, and this is the first batter in the fifth.
Be safe to say that he will not finish this ball game.
Both these teams have gotten great relief pitching throughout the postseason. Middle, setup, and closing. That takes care of Matt Williams to start the fifth.
Well, one of the reasons he has so many pitches is in the fourth inning. I mean, he walked 4 hitters. And here's ball 4 on every one of them. That's Alomar to start the inning. Tomey, Grissom, and the one that hurt the most, Vizquel, he walked in a run right there. So his wildness is the reason that he has thrown so many pitches.
Alomar has an RBI single and a walk. Strike 1 to him.
And again, Leiter with breaking stuff, 89 miles an hour that time on that cutter to Alomar. His velocity isn't down. I mean, he's still throwing in the 90s with a fastball, but pretty much all over the place.
This is the first inning that he's thrown any curveballs. He threw a curveball to strike Max Williams out, and he comes with an overhand curveball here to Sandy Alomar Jr. I mean, this has always been one of his better pitches, that overhand curveball.
This ball is chopped over Leiter. He gets a piece of it, charging Renteria. He nearly throws it away. Dalton lunges to come up with it. And Alomar's at first.
Well, that's probably going to be scored a base hit again. Another tough play for Leiter on Roberts back in the opening inning. Easy bouncing ball. He committed an error, and it led to a big inning. Here's another one. This ball probably could have been handled. It went off the thumb of his glove, and by the time Renteria could finally pick it up, look at Leiter. He knows he should have made the play. Renteria's throw pulled Dalton off the bag, and Alomar is going to reach on what probably will be scored as a base hit. It is. That is not the Leiter side of Al there. He's upset.
Tomey takes ball one. Well, there haven't been that many balls hit well off Leiter tonight. But a combination of walks, errors, plays that weren't scored errors but might have been made have led to a lot of trouble for him. Fastball high, 2-0.
You know, it almost seems like he's running into a danger zone here with Tomey. He's been behind on him every time he's been up there. He's retired him once on a strikeout, walked him back in the fourth, but always behind, and Tomey with a chance to rip at him.
And he does rip it to deep right field and gone.
He had on it. It was in the 90s, but Tomey knew it as soon as he hit it and was out of here. One more time. Here it is. High fastball. You can't keep doing it to a guy like Tomey who hit 40 for the regular season, and the Indians are up by 4.
The reaction on the Cleveland bench as they take a 7-3 lead. Justice and Hershiser.
Well, he had been 1 for 10 started before tonight's ball game against Leiter. That one hit he had was a home run.
The 1-1 to Fernandez. Broken bat roller. Bonilla again. This time he's got him. Dalton barely staying on the bag. Remember, coming up for most of you after the game, your late local news, then the Tonight Show. But for those of you who want more baseball, you can join Keith Olbermann and Hannah Storm for the World Series postgame show, available immediately after the last pitch on CNBC. A happy Jim Tomey. 2 home runs in this World Series. Hadn't hit one since September 14th coming into this series. 2-0 to Grissom.
Well, it still makes you wonder how you could take a guy like that out of the lineup who had 40 home runs, because he's always a threat.
3-0. Taking all the way and taking a stroll to first.
Well, sooner or later, it's got to be time for Leiter. Here comes Jim Leyland. And the change has been made, Bob.
After he issues his 6th walk of the night, so he couldn't get them through the 5th. This is what just about finished him. 2 batters later, he was officially gone, and so are we for a moment. The young Dominican left-hander Felix Heredia comes on, facing switch hitter Bip Roberts. With Grissom at first, the sixth man walked tonight by Leiter. And the last man, as it turned out, that he faced, Jim Leyland, had seen enough. Roberts is 0 for 3. Hops one wide of first, over near the visitors' dugout, and in the seats. Dave Nelson, the first base coach for the Indians, is mic'd. Let's listen in.
Okay, right here, you're on your own now. Just use good judgment. You're going to steal, you got to get one of those Joe Morgan jumps. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I know it's good, Charles.
Dave with a shameless effort to ensure himself some airtime by sucking up here. This ball is smacked toward the gap. Sheffield turns and has it. So Roberts is retired. But two more on the Thome homer. 7-3 Tribe. Bonilla leads off in the sixth. A tough night for him so far.
Well, it's very difficult to play this game when you're 100% healthy, let alone when you have leg problems. But he hits into a double play with the bases loaded. And this was the tough play because anytime you're injured, the ball seems to find you on defense if you're out there. And that one really hurt. And that's, you know, you're trying to play at less than 100%.
That was his second error of the night. Leiter also made one. So 3 in the E column for Florida. A big part of the reason they trail 7-3. Nagy with some breathing room as Bonilla fouls it off.
I know you do not want to DH, meaning Bobby Bonilla, but when you're injured and it's tough to play in the field, sometimes you may have to, you know, give in to your ego or your pride a little bit and DH. This is one of the things you do in the dugout. You try to warm up your bat, warm up the wood and your gloves. There's a heater above there, and you just warm everything up before you go to the plate.
Depends on who you are, too, because they stuck mine up there. They let them burn.
Did they at least give you an urn with the ashes in it?
So, yeah, hit with a box of ashes here.
Here's the 1-2 pitch.
Yeah, he did.
He's out on strikes.
Things are getting worse for Bobby Bonilla. And again, you feel in a way for him because of the fact that he's got the hamstring problem. Again, the sequence by Nagy. Fastball fouled away. Fastball outside. Breaking ball hit foul up along first. There's a check swing on a splitter, and they struck him out. But again, I agree with you, Joe. I think there are times when discretion is the better part of valor, when you may have to sit and DH. Do the DH.
They definitely need his bat in the lineup.
Absolutely.
A ball to Dalton, who's hit the ball hard twice. He lined to Ramirez in right, then hit one where no one could catch it into the seats in right center. The home run gave the Marlins a brief 3-2 lead, but they trail now 7-3.
Joe West working balls and strikes tonight, and it's called a good ball game. I mean, he's working both ways. Those pitches off the corner, they're balls, both pitchers. Yep.
On 4 pitches, Dalton walks.
You said a minute ago, Bob, with Nagy now having a little more breathing room, but again he's back to that little pattern that he started tonight's game off with, kind of nibbling a little bit with a 4-run lead.
He's walked 4 and he's struck out 4. And let's head to Jim Gray. He's got some info on Bobby Bonilla.
All right, Bobby Bonilla is electronically hooked up the back of his thigh and his hamstring into one of those electronic stimuluses. And every time that he is out of the game, he comes back into the dugout, and all he has to do is plug it in, as you see right there, just off to the left side of his hip. Bob.
A ball to Moises Alou as Nagy's control deserts him a bit here in the 6th, working with a 4-run lead. And that's going to bring Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, out of the dugout.
Remember before the game when Mike Hargrove told us about himself, we asked him about sitting in the dugout, and when you got a lead in the ball game, are you calm, or you relaxed a little bit? He said, heck no. He said, you keep thinking ahead in the game to all of the things that could possibly happen to you. As the bullpen gets busy again with Brian Anderson, he said all of the things that could possibly happen to you come to your mind in those situations. Here he's got the 4-run lead. Wiley's out there talking to him, and Anderson getting ready in a hurry, Bob.
Hargrove's Indians threw only 4 complete games during the entire season. And he said tonight, all I'm hoping for is that Nagy gets us to the 7th.
Right.
The truth is, with Jack McDowell down since May with an injury, with Orel Hershiser at age 39, not the great pitcher he once was, still very effective. John Smiley broke his arm. Nagy, not the pitcher who went 17-5 a year ago. They don't have a true ace, and yet somehow in this postseason, they have won games started against them by David Cone, by Andy Pettit, by Kevin Brown, and twice they won games in which Mike Mussina was masterful against them. They found a way to win.
He made an interesting observation to me, and he said he would rather have a great bullpen than a great starting staff. He said because he has more flexibility in the bullpen. You can use guys at different times and a lot more often. So this kind of plays into the way this team is built. More of a bullpen style team.
The 1-2 to Alou is hit down the left field line and foul. Let's look at what these bullpens have done in the postseason. Both Leland and Hargrove have gotten terrific work out of their relievers. Called strike 3. Alou walks away shaking his head.
Now it's the second time that he's gotten Alou tonight on a called 3rd strike. He did it back in the 2nd. One more time, there it is. Here's the sequence to him. Breaking ball down low off the outside corner. There's the line drive foul, and a fastball right there to finish him off.
Which brings up Eisenreich, who hits the ball deep to right, and Eisenreich has connected. Goodbye. First pitch, and just like that, Florida's back in it at 7-5.
And Mike Hargrove's worries are a reality right now. That's what he talked about. You would have thought David Justice would be the man tonight in the DH role. We talked about it earlier. But it's Jimmy Eisenreich with his 2nd base hit. This time a 2-run homer, and he got it all. This pitch is upstairs from Nagy. Watch this. High fastball, I mean right in the wheelhouse, and he knocked it out of here. Eisenreich got it all. And there's the Marlins bench. They're back in this thing now. It's 7-5.
Charles Johnson takes a breaking ball low. 2 out and 2 runs home in the 6th. A 7-5 game. There's a professional hitter right there. Eisenreich hit over 300 each of the last 4 years for the Phillies. Was in the '93 World Series with them against Toronto. When you're the DH, you hold on to the lumber, especially when it's just done good work, as Eisenreich did with that last swing.
My bases on balls have been a nightmare tonight, both for Nagy and Leiter, who has since departed. 1-out walk to Dalton, and Eisenreich knocks him in.
2-2 as Johnson couldn't hold up. Slow roller right side. Fernandez juggles it, picks it up, shovels it to Tomey, and gets him. But it's a game again in the middle of the 6th. With their lead trimmed to 7-5, the Indians come up in the 6th with Vizquel, Ramirez, and Justice due against Felix Heredia in relief of Al Leiter.
Another one of those hardy souls. Heredia without a long sleeve shirt on tonight.
Two and 0. These two names are almost certain to figure in this game, and they have been brilliant in the postseason. Dennis Cook of the Marlins, who has retired 21 of the 24 hitters he's faced in this postseason, allowing only 2 walks and a hit batter, hasn't allowed a hit in 7 innings of work. And Mike Jackson out of the bullpen for Cleveland, 10 innings of work in the postseason, no runs, 13 strikeouts. If this is a close game before we get to the closers, those two guys, one or the other, could very well decide it.
There's Dennis Cook. He may get his turn here very shortly.
The 2-2 pitch to Vizquel. In on his fists and fouled off.
Actually, this would be a better situation for Dennis Cook than Mike Jackson, because the wind blowing to right field, Mike Jackson might be at a disadvantage a little bit against some of these left-handed hitters on the Marlins.
Full count.
The balls that have been hit to right field, that have been hit out to right field, were not wind aided. I mean, they didn't need much help. They were hit.
Leadoff walk.
Let's take a look at the play that ended the top of the 6th inning for the Marlins. This is Tony Fernandez, and this is the reason that you run out all the ground balls. Even on a routine play, you may have a chance of beating it. But Charles Johnson does not get out of the box, and he actually never got up to full speed. And Fernandez was able to bobble it and still come up and make the play. So you always run out the ground balls, even when they look like they're routine.
Manny Ramirez. Way high for ball 1. Manny's 1 for 3, and we go to Keith Olbermann.
Bob, Indians manager Mike Hargrove is not happy with the fact that the umpires are letting Gil Heredia of the Marlins get his fingers very close to his mouth as he tries to keep them warm. The allegation from this end is that he is actually licking the tips of his fingers rather than merely blowing on them to keep them warm.
Here's his 1-0 pitch to Ramirez. In the air toward the right field line. Sheffield going over. No play.
We're getting to that point in the night where if indeed Heredia does go to his mouth to lick his fingers, they may stay there. That's what he's saying. He's done it twice now, gone to his mouth.
On a cold night, the umpires will allow you to blow onto your hand while you're standing on the mound. You don't have to go off the mound to do it as you would under other circumstances, but you're not allowed, as Hargrove is saying, not allowed to lick your fingers.
But he could walk off the mound itself and get on the grass and lick his fingers, so he can do it if he feels it's necessary for him to pitch well.
Steps off and looks Vizquel back.
And he walked off the mound to the grass to do it then.
Down and in. 2 balls and a strike. Threw a good fastball out of the strike zone, but it had some hop on it, and Ramirez chased it.
He has a very good fastball, and he has a lot of movement on his fastball. This one is up and out of the strike zone, and Ramirez trying to catch up with it, can't do so. And you take a look at what it looks like on supervision. He got a lot of the plate. but it was up and out of the strike zone.
The 2-2 pitch. A little pop into right. Sheffield for the catch. Folks, here it comes, that NBC original. Now David Justice, who's walked, flied to deep right, and grounded to third. David DHing tonight and in the cleanup spot. A strike from Heredia. A little roller up the first baseline. Dalton has it and tags Justice.
Well, a good fastball that time by Heredia. Jammed Justice with that little roller. They pitched him well tonight. They've gotten inside on David a number of times. He hit one ball well back in the third, but other than that, good pitch by Heredia, the tag by Dalton, and Justice is gone.
Vizquel moves up into scoring position on the play with 2 out.
See that Matt Williams is basically a pull hitter, but every once in a while he will go to right field.
Had an RBI single in the first, robbed of a hit by Renteria in the third, struck out in the fifth. Ball 1. Until they won game 2 of this series 6-1, all of Cleveland's victories in the postseason had been close. 7 victories, 6 of them by 1 run, and the other by 2 runs. Leading 7-5 here in the 6th. For those of you enjoying the game in the comfort of your own homes and curious about the discomfort of those in attendance here, the temperature has fallen to 44 degrees and the wind chill, David Neal, our producer, will tell me, is down to what? 25. The 2-0 pitch. 3-0 to Williams. And if the wind chill is 25, you have to figure that the ice cream concession would be suffering, but at least one customer says, yeah.
First one tonight.
Let me have a scoop. Too long a line for hot chocolate, I'm guessing.
I think it'll last for an hour. Just look at it.
The 3-0. A green light, and he fouls it off. Vizquel leading away from second. He walked to open the inning. Heredia's 3-1 pitch to Williams. Tip back into Johnson's glove. 3-2.
Well, he's gone to 3-0. He's made 2 excellent pitches. Fastballs away from Matt Williams. This is a fastball right on the outside corner, and Matt Williams cannot catch up with it. Take a look in supervision. Look at this, right out there on the outside corner.
The 3-2. Smash. Bonilla dives to smother it. Throws across the diamond to Dalton. What a play.
Unbelievable.
Well, Bobby Bo has had his troubles tonight, but looked like Brooks Robinson on that one.